Hi, my name is Greg, and this is One Strange Planet. This is a video reply to Paul Doman in regards to book recommendations. Paul, I don't recommend you read any logic books. I haven't, and there's no need to. The way you can get the arguments necessary for what you need in atheism are strictly through the debate of atheists, debate with people who are willing to talk about those kinds of things. And I really don't think that there's any need for books. However, I do know people like my dad, CGO111, who posts out here, or what is it? No, that's Scouty111. It's CGO11, all right, and he posts out here comments. He hasn't made any videos, but if you send him messages, he'll be thorough in his replies, I'm sure. And that's for anyone else too that wants to comment him. I recommend my dad. He's been around a long time. Dealing with these kinds of things. He lives and breathes it. All right. A Mathematical Introduction to Logic, Herbert Enderton is one of the books he recommended. I asked him. Elements of Set Theory, Herbert Enderton, same guy. Okay. Methods of Logic, Willard Quine, and Mathematical Logic by Willard Quine. And I'll post links up to those. But I'm going to point out that the reason that I recommend that you don't read any books on logic is because it's never going to get you, it's not going to deliver you what you're probably looking for. Now I don't know what it is you're looking for, but I'm under the understanding that it's probably just related to atheism in the sense of the way that I would want to use it myself. And yeah, the books aren't going to lead you, in my opinion, for what you need, because you'll find it all within the atheist debates. It might be difficult to find intelligent atheist debate. I find very little of it on YouTube, and even on the message boards and places where I have garnered this information. Rare. It's out there. It's but it's not common, I guess. Mostly we'll find between atheists and theists, or even when atheists are discussing, it's a lot of empty rhetoric, both back and forth, both ways, with the atheists generally taking the upper hand, I think. But the fundamentals of logic are pretty well known, and they're discussed all the time. The three main laws: law of identity, law of excluded middle, law of non-contradiction. Those are the basic pillars. So to have all that outlined so straightforward and in and for atheists is not done. So maybe I'll write a book, I guess. But the real issue for me is that the logicians, in this sense, are fairly obscure about arriving at anything that you're going to find to do with atheism. And I think there's a lot of mistakes that are made by almost everyone somewhere. So when we outline our theories and our understandings, then it's very easy to pinpoint errors, or at least pinpoint a difference in a definition that allows for a difficult read, I think, no matter where we go. And I was on Stickham the last couple of days and pointing this out, is that the further that we pursue any philosophy seriously, any worldview that uses philosophy to decide it, I think that what we're going to end up with is everybody on their own isolated island. We all have a sort of different way of approach of things as individuals, and so this is very clear. You see it in philosophy students or people that have taken it serious for a long time, and there's a certain regard that they'll have for each other, even though that they massively disagree with the conclusions each has. But there has to be, in order to have a continued dialogue. And the need then for a formal structure is often going to maybe lead us towards where we all think the same way, and this wouldn't be interesting. So to have sort of a universal code that we can all agree upon, or this universal language and all this kind of thing, and I think it leads to like a robotic state, if you like. So I really embrace the differences that people have, and for this reason, it's good that atheists disagree with each other. It's good that we can contest these issues. It's great that we pursue these avenues with each other, because this allows for people to think about these questions in perhaps a new light. All of the questions, not just whether God exists or not, but what is existence, you know? And atheism quickly leads to these kinds of issues. What is existence? What is truth? And the biggest issues of philosophy are drawn into it relatively quickly. Or what we understand as philosophy being the questions that we don't know, and the questions we got to ask to arrive at our worldviews. So really, there you go. There's some book recommendations, I guess. I know that if I was to think of how to approach philosophy or logic, if you like, thinking, I would start at Aristotle and read how fascinatingly advanced they were, that we would be probably let go of most of major religion if we apply those arguments. And there's the last piece of the puzzle. So you can read the books, but what you need to be able to do is apply those things to what we're saying in atheism, and that's what you won't find in the books, and that's why. It's because they don't apply it. So the direct application of any of these things that are stated need to be sort of, universally applied, and if you can show an exception, well, then we have a reason to throw it out. So, the application of an argument on what is existence. How do we say anything exists? And I mean anything, from a number to the world, the earth, or water, or something like that. How do we know? What is knowledge? If we are, the more that we go into these kinds of questions, the more that we're going to arrive at completely different angles very quickly. And to ask people to define something like truth is nearly impossible. To have a universal standard where we all can agree is impossible. So whenever we say anything is true, are we really saying the same thing? So I don't know what book you'll see that in, but you just think about it. So the application of these things is more important than the formalities of them, if you like. If that's not too Adrianokish. Okay? Cheers.